What's up, everyone? This is going to be my review for Daredevil Born Again for the season. Since I wasn't really making videos for it as it was airing. Uh, so I'm going to start with episode 1, Heaven's Half Hour. So basically, everyone's out celebrating this new. I think he's some kind of cop in the show. It's his retirement. Cherry is his name. And then Foggy and Karen are basically ambushed by uh, Bullseye, Ben Poindexter, and then uh, Bullseye gets shot by, or not Bullseye, Foggy gets shot by Bullseye and killed, while Matt was like off trying to help this client that Foggy had that he was hiding, and it sounded like Bullseye got to him to know where Foggy is, and Daredevil was suited up going after where that guy is, and then he heard Foggy get shot, and he comes back. Bullseye is about to shoot Karen, and then Daredevil shows up and they start fighting. It's really, really good choreography, really good fight scene. Bullseye's just throwing all kinds of knives and sticking out of Daredevil. It's really crazy, and Bullseye has this crazy look on it in his eyes, like going up the stairs to the roof of the building. It's really good, and basically Daredevil beats Bullseye. Foggy dies, and Foggy and Karen out on the street, like on the sidewalk, while he's bleeding out. And after he dies, Daredevil's all distraught and yelling and everything, and he just throws Bullseye off the building, hoping it kills him, but it doesn't because of his cognium spine that he got at the end of Daredevil season 3. So then after this, there's like a time jump, and Daredevil is not being Daredevil anymore. Matt is just being Matt. Karen has moved to San Francisco, and Matt is running. He's got a new attorney's. He's running with the former district attorney Kristen McDuffie, like he's partnered with her. Uh, Bullseye's given a life sentence, and so he's in prison. And Kingpin decides he wants to run for mayor. So that's like the election is like in the first episode. I think he's about to get elected. Uh, Matt's partner Kristen sets him up with this therapist named Heather, and they like end up getting along. So they start dating, and uh, by the end of the episode, Kingpin gets elected as mayor, and then he has an anti-vigilante campaign he's doing. So he's trying to stop all vigilantes, and him and Matt meet up at this diner, and Kingpin tells him he was not involved in Foggy getting killed, and Matt basically lets Kingpin know that he's not Daredevil anymore, and he basically tells Daredevil that he'll come after him if he like starts being Daredevil again. Um, Yeah, so he's on his second date with Heather, and that's where he finds out that they won the election. And Fisk finds out, he tells Vanessa, his wife, that he knows she was cheating. So that's pretty interesting. So that's pretty much the end of episode 1. And it was like probably my favorite episode of the season, honestly. The beginning, anyway. Most of the show I've not liked, except for like the first and last episode. I don't like that it's basically been the Matt Murdock show the whole season. Like I very much dislike that. But anyway, on to episode 2, Optics. Matt decides he's going to represent Hector Ayala because there's a scene, this guy Hector, and you find out something about Hector later. He's going down a train station, like a subway station, and these guys are roughing up this other guy. These two guys are roughing up one guy. And to Hector, he just looks like they're bad guys. So he like fights them. And basically this one guy ends up getting hit by a train, not because of Hector, but because he tripped and fell. But Hector's getting charged with the murder because it turns out the two guys were cops, but he didn't know that. And they were probably dirty cops. Uh, so, you find out that Hector is the vigilante White Tiger, and so now Matt finds that out through Cherry has become like a PI, and he basically finds out through going to, I think he goes to Hector's house or something and talks with his wife, and he finds like that White Tiger mask and stuff. Uh, and in this episode, we meet BB Urich, which is Ben Urich's niece, I think. Uh, we meet Commissioner Gallo, the new commissioner of the police department, and he knows like he doesn't like Fisk because he knows he's like the kingpin basically, and he wants to resign since Fisk became mayor, but Fisk threatens him, and like he lets him know he knows where his family, like, threatens his family basically. Uh, and then towards the end of the episode, you figure out that Kingpin and Vanessa have started seeing Matt's girlfriend Heather, the therapist. So that's another layer that's being added on top. Um, so I think, yeah, in this, it's still the court with White Tiger still going on. Um, so in episode 3, the hollow of his hand, Fisk's old like associates, like from like his crime days, are taking advantage of like him being the mayor now, because Vanessa's basically been running stuff while he was off in like Hawkeye and Echo and all those shows. Um, Fisk has like a new right hand man since obviously Wesley's dead now. Buck Cashman's his name. He sends Buck, or no, Vanessa sends Buck to ease like tensions between the different gangs and stuff. Fisk thinks they should just let them kill each other. Um, they find Cherry, the PI, the new PI, the ex cop. He finds the guy that the two cops were roughing up, Torres, and he's able to get him to the trial without them. All these cops and like corrupt people are trying to stop and kill the dude before he can get to trial. But when dude's in trial, like on the witness stand, he feels intimidated by the other cops and like the out in the pews and stuff in the crowd. Um, with no other options, though, Matt decides he's going to reveal that Hector is the White Tiger and all the good deeds he's done. And that ends up basically convincing the jury that he's a good guy, and they drop all the charges. Um, Fisk speaks out that he does not like the ruling. He thinks that Hector should have got charged, obviously. We know why, because he's a piece of crap and he's the kingpin. Uh, then at the end, you have some like cool music, like uh, I'm not sure if it's like Mexican, Spanish, whatever, but it sounds good. And it's Hector like suiting up to go out on patrol as the White Tiger. And then we see he's like coming up some like an alleyway, and then all of a sudden someone steps out of like a shadow and shoots him right in the head. And I was not expecting that at all. I was like, holy crap. And the person that shoots him walks towards the camera, and they're still like in shadow. You don't see their face. And all you see come up is the Punisher logo on their body armor. And I pretty much I've seen set leaks and stuff of what's going on here. I knew it wasn't Frank, like the actual Punisher. Uh, but yeah, that's how that episode 3 ends. So episode 4, we got Sync Semper Sistema. And this episode starts with Matt talking with Hector's niece, Angela, who's probably going to become the new White Tiger because she does in the comics. That he'll find the killer and they'll be brought to justice. He won't find them, but someone will. Um, Kristen, his partner at the law firm, asks him to handle some petty theft thing with someone named Leroy Bradford. Uh, Matt brings his sentence down to 10 days in prison, but the guy's still upset that he's unable to get him probation due to his prior sentencing, ruining his life. And then we see Fisk and Vanessa at marriage counseling, and they're discussing her affair with this guy named Adam. And then after the session, Heather asks Vanessa if she feels safe around Fisk, which is interesting. Um, Fisk attempts to improve the port's face of number. Fisk's attempt to improve the port's face a number of hurdles, including government procedures, rivaling gangs, and his protege Daniel Blake drunkenly leaking their upcoming. So Daniel Blake is, if you didn't know, he is played by Michael Gandolfini, which is James Gandolfini from Sopranos, played Tony in The Sopranos. It's his son. He's pretty good in the show, but nothing like spectacular. Uh, Basically, he becomes friends with BB Urich, and they're like on ketamine and all kinds of stuff, and he like tells her the plan, and she bashes it on her show. Fisk is mad at first, and then he realizes that Blake is loyal, so he like forgives him, but he tells him he better not do this again. Matt goes to see where Hector was killed, and he finds a bullet casing with the Punisher logo on it. So that's crazy. That's like crazy that someone would even go through that trouble to put that on there. And he tracks down the Punisher, Frank Castle. Um, he interrogates him about it, and then Frank says it came from like these fanboy cops that have been using his symbol. And Frank and Matt have a very like heated conversation about how Matt didn't kill Bullseye, and how it's stupid that he stopped being Daredevil after Foggy. Basically, that's where they leave things off, and we'll see Punisher again. Fisk. We see that. I'm trying to remember everything. We see that Fisk has went down to this like hidden basement thing, and he has the guy that Vanessa cheated on him with, Adam, in prison while he's eating a bunch of like pasta and stuff. And then I think it was in episode 3 or this one, we had seen Heather doing a book signing, and we see this guy come up and say he needs her help. This guy comes back later, actually right now, what I'm about to say. We cut to a scene of a masked serial killer draining blood from someone, and that is Muse. And the guy that was talking to Heather, he is also Muse. Bastion something, I forgot. So yeah, that's where the episode leads off, with showing Muse for the first time. Episode 5, With Interest. It's St. Patrick's Day. This is the bank heist episode. St. Patrick's Day. Matt goes to the bank to get a loan for the law firm. He gets denied, and the banker he gets denied by is Yusuf Khan, Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel's dad. But they end up, Matt leaves after that, after he gets denied. And then you see a group of guys come in, led by this guy named Devlin, and they got all these different colored masks on. So they come in and they take everyone hostage to rob the bank. And it turns out they work for Luca, and they're wanting to steal 1.8 million. He needs to pay this guy Victor that Fisk said he had to pay. Um, Matt hears them come in, basically, so he gets back into the bank. And when the police arrive, the main guy Devlin, he talks with the hostage negotiator, and her name is Detective Angie Kim. And Matt, he's able to take out 2 of the robbers while Khan stalls at the bank vault, because they want the manager is out of town, and they want Yusuf. Yusuf tells him, because he's the like manager or whatever, that he can open the vault, but he can't really. So he's stalling while Matt's trying to get them, like, knock them all out one by one. Matt gets the vault open and they find a rare diamond, and that's what, like, the robbers are after. Matt is able to, like, stop them, though, and as the cops come in, Devlin is able to get out. Like, he takes off his mask and just seems like a random person. And then one of the hostages turns out that she was in on it, and she was supposed to have the diamond, but she realizes she doesn't have the diamond because I think Matt had took it off her already. But yeah, the Devlin guy disguised himself as a cop to get out, and then Matt catches up with him. He basically beats the shit out of him. Matt beats the shit out of the guy, and he gets caught. And Matt secretly returns the diamond later. And Yusuf offers him to have dinner. I thought we were going to see Kamala, but nope. But he accepts the offer to have dinner with them sometime, so maybe in the future, a future season or something. So that's the end of that episode. Episode 6, Excessive Force. After the robbery with Luca, like his robbery fails, he visits Kingpin, and he said he's not going to pay the 1.8 million to Victor. And so, because of him saying that, Kingpin says, "Well, now you got to pay 2.8 million." And he says you have a week to pay it. And it's through the whole season we've been seeing like the murals from Muse that he's been painting, and at this point, Kingpin learns from the sanitation department that the paint that he's been using is human blood. It's made from human blood. These girls see Muse like painting a mural, and they come up and like, "Are you Muse? Let's get a picture." So he takes them and kills them, and he leaves their bodies by one of his new murals as a public confirmation of his actions. Fish Kingpin like learns about the bodies like being left at the painting at a fundraiser he's having with a bunch of these rich people, and also Jack Duquesne is there from Hawkeye, the swordsman, and you actually see a video earlier in the season of him. Someone took a video of swordsman, and it's him like fencing. I forgot to mention this. He's basically acting as a vigilante, which is really cool to see. But Jack Duquesne is against like Kingpin's port rebuild plans. So, but to deal with Muse, when Kingpin finds out what he's doing, he establishes an anti-vigilante task force with all these like basically these cops that are kind of like corrupt, and they all start wearing. They get this body armor, and they all start wearing the Punisher logo on there, like a bunch of fanboys. And he gives the task force additional powers, and the guy Cole North. We'll come back to him in a little bit, but he is like the leader of it. Then we get to a scene where Angela, Hector's niece, the one who's going to become White Tiger, she was investigating Muse after his death. Or she thinks Hector was investigating Muse, and then after his death, oh, before his death, I mean. But after his death, there's no one left like helping anyone or trying to figure out what's going on. So she goes to Matt to try to get him to continue to work on finding out what's going on with Muse. And he refuses. So she goes to try to find out, like, see where Muse is herself, because I guess she figured out where his lair is or something from looking at from Hector's like stuff he had. She gets abducted by Muse, and then Matt gets alerted that she's been abducted. So he finally decides to suit up as Daredevil, which is fucking sick, and it's about time. So he finds her. He's like starting to suck the blood out of Angela, and then he's like hears something. He goes out like to look outside his lair. It's like in a subway station, and you hear like a train, but then you like see Daredevil just running up all fucking badass. Oh, it was so sick. And Muse looks all freaked out, and they start fighting, and he easily beats Muse. Like, he's obviously a better fighter than Muse, but Muse runs away, and he saves Angela, and she's like, Daredevil, and he's like, I'm here, I'm here. But anyway, so the episode ends with her getting back to a hospital, and we see Fisk go down to like the lair where he was holding Adam, the guy that Vanessa cheated on him with, and he gives Adam an axe and challenges him to fight. Like, he'll have an axe and Fisk will have just his bare hands, and basically Fisk wins and beats the crap out of him and drags him back to his cell, and that's how the episode ends. So episode 7, Art for Art's Sake. Angela, the one who got abducted, she tells the police that she was saved by Daredevil and Muse's lair. And then Detective Kim reports to Fisk that Daredevil's back, and he's angry that Matt is being Daredevil again. The primary suspect that they have for Muse, they figured out it's Bastion Cooper's his name. He ends up he's in a session because he met her earlier, Heather. He's in a session with her. And in a session, he thanks her for helping him embrace his true identity. And that makes her realize that he's Muse, the way he starts talking. So Bastion knocks her unconscious. And then when she wakes up, he's got like the full Muse gear on and everything. And he slits her wrist open. And while this is happening, Daredevil had been in his lair to see what's like, try to find clues, I guess, and stuff. He found paintings that he could tell was, by feeling them, I guess, the kind of paint or something, he could tell that it was pictures of Heather. So he goes to try to save Heather because he thinks Muse is going to be after her, which he is. He's already there. So he arrives in her office after he slit down her wrist, and he beats Muse. He's like fighting Muse, and Heather gets her gun from a drawer or something and shoots Muse in the head and then passes out from her, like, losing blood. So then Daredevil stabilizes her before the task force gets in there because they're going to take him to jail or kill him if they catch him. So she stabilized and she gets taken to the hospital and she recovers. Then we see we go back to like where she's recovering at, and she tells Matt that Daredevil didn't save her, she saved her, which is really stupid because he's the one that stabilized her. She would have bled out if he wasn't there. Like, that's already stupid to even say, and she wouldn't have got the opportunity to shoot him, Muse, in the head if Daredevil wasn't there. Alright, then we go to a scene. Luca asks Vanessa to return to her criminal activities, and they'll kill Fisk, basically. And it seems like Vanessa is like telling Luca to kill Fisk, but it's actually a setup, and you see Luca's coming in behind Fisk. He's like eating, and Luca gets shot right before he shoots Fisk, and Buck is the one who shot him. And you figure out that Vanessa obviously is not against Fisk. And that's where the episode ends for episode 7. So episode 8, Isle of Joy. This is where we see Bullseye again. He is moved from solitary confinement into gen population. And you see like this blue filter. It's like from the comics, showing him get more comic accurate, I guess. And it's implied that he like whoops a bunch of kills a bunch of them probably. Fisk is the one that got him moved to gen pop. We also see in this episode Fisk reveals to Vanessa that he has Adam locked up, and he gives her a choice to let him go or kill him, and she decides to kill Adam. Blake gets Michael Gandolfini's character. He gets promoted to deputy mayor of communications, and he invites Heather, Daredevil's girlfriend, and Buck is really the one who shows up at their door, and this is where Matt finds out that Fisk and Vanessa are clients of his girlfriend, which he thinks that that's all about him. So she starts getting worried about Matt when he's getting freaked out about Fisk. She got invited to this black and white ball fundraiser. Uh, she this whole thing puts a strain on the relationship already because how against Fisk and Vanessa he is. So then we see Matt at Josie's bar, and he figures out there from Josie that Foggy was celebrating an impending court win that night, the night he died. And so he believes, now Matt believes that Fisk hired Bullseye to silence Foggy. So Matt interrogates Bullseye. He goes to see Bullseye, and he even injures him. And this is to get him out of Gen Pop, I think. Um, Matt figures out from Bullseye that it's Vanessa. Or no, he doesn't figure out then. He figures out at the party. Okay, so I'm wrong. He busts out one of Bullseye's tooth by slamming his face on the interrogation table, and then he walks out. So later, uh, while Bullseye's being treated for that, he has a tooth broken out of his mouth, and he spits it into the guard's face, and basically that helps him break out. So then you see everyone at the party, and basically what happens is Bullseye's there, and as this is going on, they hear that he's broke out. So then Vanessa gets really scared, and this lets Matt know that Vanessa is the one that hired the hit on Foggy. And so Matt goes over to dance with her and interrogate her and confront her. And after he tells her, you see Bullseye getting ready to shoot Matt. And at this point, or no, he's not going to shoot Matt. He's going to shoot Vanessa. You think he's going to shoot Fisk, but then he aims at Vanessa. And basically Matt jumps in the... No, he's going to shoot Fisk. That's right. He's going to shoot Fisk. And Matt jumps in the way of Fisk and gets shot. So we end with the episode with you thinking that Matt's going to bleed out. So... Episode 9... Straight to Hell. Matt wakes up in the hospital. Heather is distraught with how he's acting about Fisk, and just... I think she's pretty much given up on Matt at this point. She basically goes home and just leaves him in the hospital. Kingpin wants Buck to go murder Matt in the hospital, which I don't even know why he thought that would work. He's Daredevil. He's going to know the dude's walking in there. So there's like a big citywide blackout. Buck's coming in the hospital to kill Daredevil. Daredevil's already out of his hospital bed and stuff. And I'm going to really speed through this last episode here. Basically, Kingpin has everything going to shit. There's a big city blackout in New York. He kills the commissioner by squishing his head, ripping his jaw apart. It's the most brutal scene I've seen in any Marvel anything. It's crazy. MCU. Yeah. Go. I know. Go. Sorry about that. That was my son. All the anti-vigilante cops with the Punisher logos, they go after Matt. They don't know he's Daredevil, but at this point, Karen has called in the Punisher to save Matt. Matt showed up back at his apartment, and Punisher was already waiting there. So then they take out all the cops, and they learn that Cole North is the one that has the Punisher logo on his bullet casing. So he's the one that killed. He's the one that killed Hector Ayala, White Tiger. Matt stops Frank from killing him because Matt doesn't like how the Punisher kills everybody. Most of the time in the comics, nobody likes the Punisher. So basically, they get out of there. Then Punisher says he's not going to help them. And then later on in the episode, you see he goes out to fight the vigilante cops. He ends up getting captured by them after taking a few out. And he calls them a bunch of fanboys, a bunch of pussies and all this stuff. He's talking shit to them. You end the episode, Daredevil and Karen are together. He says we need an army. you see that Fisk and Vanessa have all these like socialites and like rich people, and Jack Duquesne, the swordsman, all locked up in these cages like they had Adam. And then the final cage, you see they have Frank Castle, the Punisher, locked up. And it ends with Matt going to Josie's bar, and you see all these people in there from the season. And this is what people are thinking are saying, what he's saying when we need an army. He thinks some people think it's these people, and some people think it's the Defenders. I'm telling you right now, and I've gotten into arguments in the comments on Facebook and stuff. It's gonna be the Hand. It's gonna be like the Dark Reign comics and stuff. It's gonna be the Hand, the Shadowland, and all that. It's not gonna. The Defenders might show up, but that's not who he's referencing when he says we need an army. It's setting up the Hand to be his army. So yeah, basically we end with him in Josie's bar, and that's how the season ends. And we get a post-credit scene of the Punisher telling one of the Punisher guards, the fanboys, to come over and shake his, like he's telling them, oh, it's nice to meet you, blah, 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 because he knows they're fanboys already. So he knows the guy will shake his hand. So he takes the guy and breaks his arm and then pulls him in, and he breaks out basically. And this is setting up probably the Punisher special we're supposed to get. But anyway, that's the end of my review for Daredevil Born Again. So please like, subscribe me on already. Sorry for the nature of the video. I know it's not I don't have ways to edit or anything like that, but I'm just doing what I can. Please like, subscribe me on already. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.